Feel the vibration of that music moving through your body temple, creating wonderful tonic chemicals that are allowing you to vivify every cell of your body temple, that you may increase the capacity for more of the cosmic energy to flow through you. You are here to increase your capacity because of this field of infinite love and divine peace and infinite joy and abundance. All of that needs an instrument to express through. Just like there's electricity everywhere, but it needs an instrument to shine through as this luminosity, as the amplification of my voice, as the luminosity in this particular room. You are the instruments for the divine cosmic energy of unconditional love, perfect peace, and divine joy to reveal itself. Just embrace yourself for a moment and say, I am a living instrument of the divine. I am also an emanation of the divine. My life is divine. Somebody scream about that. And so we are remembering in terms of the theme of our month, which is the promise and the practice and the possibility, particularly in the realm of phenomena. We're inviting ourselves to be phenomenal in the realm of phenomena. We are aware and increasingly becoming aware that we have made a promise before we incarnated that we would bring forth our gifts, talents, and expand our capacity for more life into the human incarnation. As I've said over the years, people have quoted Thierry Desjardins saying that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, but I always say we are spiritual beings having a human incarnation, and we choose our experience. And so in light of that truth, you made a promise. You may not remember, but you're here to have your memory jogged that you made a promise before you incarnated to bring forth your gifts and your talents and your uniqueness, your unique way of revealing the presence of God on earth into this particular dimension. And you also knew that you would face challenges and turbulence along the way, that you weren't tiptoeing to the tulips in the human incarnation. You were moving through the density of the human experience, meaning you're moving through the density of the world of appearances, which is the condensation of thoughts, beliefs, perceptions, points of view, positionalities that have condensed itself into a world of appearances that at times seem ominous, at times seem a polarization, at times seem hateful, at times they seem lack, limitation, scarcity. But you already knew that before you got here. And so it's just like people complaining about the fact that when they get up and they're stuck in rush hour traffic, they already knew the traffic was going to be there. It's there every day at the same time. And so individuals will complain about it, and they knew when they got in their car they were going to bump into it. And so there's always a choice. So I'm expanding your awareness. You knew when you came to the planet that there was going to be turbulence, there was going to be challenges, there was going to be circumstances and situations as the ebb and flow of the human experience happened, as the progressive universe is constantly marching forward, and there's constant breakdown for breakthrough. There's the constant things at times regressing to go forward. Even those individuals that were looking through the new telescope that showed the universe constantly expanding to their shock, and then discovering that there was always a retraction and then an expansion, more and more and more and more. We knew this as spiritual beings. And so you are here to embrace your promise, to deliver your spiritual goods and to upload your practice to such a degree that in a time when individuals are very nervous about what's happening on the planet, some are in celebration and some are in grief, that we are here to uplevel our practice of kindness and generosity and forgiveness and love, transcending polarization, so that we are the instruments of anchoring the realm of ever-expanding good on earth as it is in the highest heaven. And so in that knowledge that I'm trying to wake you up to, you knew the stuff was going down. You already knew it. And so you must become aware that in this promise and in this practice, we live in a field of infinite possibilities, and we get to choose the possibility regardless of political climate, regardless of how things have shaped up politically. Some are celebrating, some are in grief. Regardless of that, there is a dynamic world that we can give birth to if we up-level our practice and see it and feel it and call it forward. And so when there is a regression and individuals are nervous about the political climate, they're nervous about a presidency that built a base around misogyny and transphobia and homophobia and racism and fear and doubt and worry. And we must understand that when there's that kind of regression, the universe is still going forward. And whenever there's that kind of regression, it moves us into what I call the slingshot effect. And that means that whenever there's a regression with that kind of language, whenever there's a regression with that kind of energy, the universe is moving forward. And like a slingshot, when you pull the sling back and you release it, all that tension shoots everything forward very, very fast. And so we're in a vibration of slingshot, meaning that when that energy is moving forward, that energy must have instruments to express through. The universe is beautiful, it's friendly, it's magnificent, it's progressive. But in these individuals that can hold that frequency of love and peace and harmony and wholeness, generosity, forgiveness, so that when it moves forward, it has something to move forward through. That would be you, that would be here, that would be now. So those individuals who are afraid of the political climate, I say look to black people, look to queer people, look to Jewish people, look to anyone who has lived under any kind of oppression, and you will notice that there is a dynamic resilience, a dynamic leaning into something that's ineffable that allows people to get through what some people may call hard times. You're standing upon the shoulders of individuals who've gone through a Holocaust, who've gone through slavery, who've gone through transphobia, people being attacked because they're gay. These individuals have something special within them. They have something that holds a space within them that births so much compassion and so much energy to know that whatever you're going through, you're going to make it. It's going to be all right. You see, and so we do not fall prey to polarization. Because you know what? You remember I used to tell that story years ago about who's to say what's good and what's bad. Remember that story? Some people are saying, yeah, I'll just tell it then. Anyway, you know, the wonderful farmer had his beautiful farm, and he had his wonderful horse that he was using to basically plow the soil and to distribute goods and things of that particular nature. Without this horse, the family would be poor, would not be able to subsist. So one day the young son left the gate open and the horse ran away. And he goes to his dad and says, Dad, what are we going to do? And the father said, who's to say what's good and what's bad? The next day, the horse comes back with a pack of wild Mustangs. They had followed him home, so they quickly locked the gate. And the boy goes to the father and says, Dad, we got all these horses, we're going to be rich. And the father says, who's to say what's good and what's bad? So the next day, the boy's riding one of the wild Mustangs, and he falls off and breaks his leg. He can't help his dad with the farming. Dad, I'm so sorry. And the father says, who's to say what's good and what's bad? The next day, they come to conscript the son into the army to go off to fight. But he can't go because he's got a broken leg. And Dad, I'll be able to stay home. And the father says, so when we look at the world of phenomena, who's to say what's good and what's bad? The slingshot effect says that the frequency of the tension being pulled back, in that tension, in what looks bad, is the seed of transformation, is the seed of growth, you see. And so we're standing as pioneers of the possible. There is the promise that you made to yourself to bring your gifts, talents, and capacities, and those capacities are for love. Those capacities are for peace and generosity and creativity, and to move into a practice in such a way that you do not fall prey to the sea of mental garbage. What is that? I like to teach, it used to be taught in the metaphysical circles that we are the thinkers of the thoughts producing our reality. But we've transcended from that now. We are understanding we don't think thoughts, we obtain thought. Meaning, you obtain thought from two different places. You either obtain thought forms from the sea of mental garbage, meaning there are people living a life separate from the presence. Now, no one is really separate. We're all one, but some people have an illusion that they're separate, and so they create thought forms: fear, doubt, worry, separation, not enoughness, hate, bigotry, homophobia, racism, etc., etc., etc. Those are thought forms that are emanating from a sea of separation. It's called the sea of mental garbage. You see that on the news every night at 11. It's right there. Okay. That's the delusional world. And then there is obtaining thought directly from the mind of God. That is inspiration. That's intelligence. You sometimes say, oh, it hit me out of the blue. Something told me. Something is another name for God. Something told me to go this way. Something told me when I woke up this morning. So you're either obtaining thought from the sea of mental garbage. Don't watch the news. Please, stop it. Or you're obtaining thought directly from the inspiration of the presence. And you say, ooh, I got it. It moves through you. What's happening? My mic is popping? God bless you. So you're either obtaining, ooh, I like this. Me. Oh, how I love to love deep in my soul. I know we are whole. Okay, let me get back to it. Now, you get a mic like this, you feel like you just got to sing. You know what I'm saying? So you're either obtaining thought from the sea of mental garbage, or you're obtaining direct inspiration from the presence of God. So you're not thinking, you're obtaining. Now, with spiritual practice of meditation, you get to obtain directly from the heart mind of the infinite, and you begin to see that there is a progression happening in the universe is progressive. So there's always a moving forward. There's a slight contraction, always moving forward, slight contraction. In the seed of that contraction is the darkness and the seed for greater growth, development, and unfoldment. So what do? As the Zen teachers tell us, we cherish no opinions at all. We don't cherish opinions. We cherish the possibility that we're living in a field, the infinite potential, and we become the divine fiats, the ambassadors of that which is trying to emerge. Can you imagine when a caterpillar appears to be going backwards and everything is falling apart and he begins to kill off the imaginal cells of the butterfly? There's actually a progression taking place. In the middle of that breakdown, there is something that is emerging that has more order than the caterpillar itself. And so if we can all wake up and become the divine ambassadors of that which is trying to express itself, yes, if you don't like what happened, you grieve it and then get back up. If you like what's happening, you celebrate it and you have no gloating and polarization in your mind. We are all in this world together. And so we have to begin to listen to each other and hear what's happening on a soul level so that we can begin to allow this caterpillar of a society that is oftentimes, not oftentimes, which every single system of it is at a level of decay. The prison industrial system, the Pentagon, the medical system, it's all in decay. It's decadent right now. It's dying, you see? And so we're in the middle of the throes of great change. And so as people of God, we're living in the field of infinite possibilities. And instead of bemoaning what's dying, we begin to call forth what's possible. and we begin to love so fiercely. That's what she sang about today. We love so fiercely. We become so creative. We become so generous, become so kind that it almost embarrasses us how much we want to love and how much we want to build a kind and just global society, regardless of the hate rhetoric that has been espoused and people joining sides. In a round world, there aren't any sides, but you can't see that if you don't have practice. You're just in a field of opinionation. Oh, this or that. We as spiritual beings rise above that. And we begin to live not in the world of appearances, but in the real world. And a world that is calling forth the manifestation of new systems, new structures with the capacity to absolutely hold more love, more joy, and more peace. Listen. Do not fall prey to falling in love with celebrity or rich people. I like rich people. They're cool. I would like to be one. But our society puts them up so high. And oftentimes when you examine many of these people who seem to be powerful, they're on the spectrum of not having any empathy. They cannot feel what other people feel. So we don't put them way up there. We put God there within our soul, you see. And you begin to realize that you are more powerful than you think. The awakened citizens of the world are more powerful than any structure. The awakened citizens, not the ones who've been hijacked by the news. The awakened citizens. The promise, wake up, bring your gifts. The practice, introspection that leads to transpection. The possibilities, infinite possibilities. Why don't you choose one? Grieve, yes. Be upset for a minute, vent, whatever. But then choose the possibility of the world you want to live in. And then feel what that feels like. And then walk as its ambassador. And then you will be an individual that's carrying the imaginal cell of the next stage of the evolution of the species. And the defense system of the old paradigm will talk about you, talk you crazy, what's wrong with you. But one by one, those who can hold that frequency will become the dominant vibration. Do you remember 40 years ago, all of this stuff we're talking about now was woo-woo? It was all woo-woo stuff. Oh, they're sitting down with their eyes closed. Were they navel gazing? Oh, they're affirming the truth. Oh, this is silly. You can't just speak things into existence with your energy and your mind and your thought and your visualization. Oh, and all the new ways of healing and all of that. That was all woo-woo stuff. Now it's the only real stuff here. You see, so there's something moving. Something's moving. Are you picking up what I'm putting down here? So there's something happening. And so we learn to listen to each other until we begin to see that there's a kernel and more kernels of truth within us all. If we can just listen and then begin to describe the world we want to live in. Now, there are some individuals that, have become so separate from the divine that they're into the hate sphere. But I believe there's more of us that's in the love sphere. I believe that, I feel it. I'm talking about on the planet, you see. Take a breath here with me right now. Release. Another breath. Release. I love it. Another breath. Sustain it right there. Just sustain the breath. Feel the world you want to live in. It has to have love, peace, kindness, compassion, generosity for all people, not just some, not just for the elite, everyone. Feel it. Release with a sigh of ah. Now feel yourself imprinting the noosphere, the mental atmosphere of the planet with this frequency that you just felt. You are imprinting. Say this out loud. I now imprint the mental atmosphere with the world that I want us all to live in. A kind and just global society. I'm imprinting that right now. Come what may. I am its vibrational ambassador. And it's happening right now. Now take the breath. Sustain it at the apex. Feel it happening right now. This is way more powerful than newsreels, presidencies. You are imputing the noosphere with a frequency that has nothing to do with partisanship. It has something to do with the presence of God. Release. I don't want anyone fainting. And so your role is to remember the promise you made to yourself. Your role is to be phenomenal in the realm of phenomena. Phenomenal means remarkable, magnificent, beautiful. Be phenomenal in the world of phenomena. There's always going to be changes in the world of phenomena. Everything must change. Everything is changing all the time. But there is something that remains the same. 2007, 2008, when the bankers ruined the economy for many people, avocados were still growing. Nature was still doing its thing. I remember checking in with Mother Nature, and I said, listen, there's scarcity, lack, limitation. Mother Nature said, oh no, that's a human experience. I'm still growing. You've got to pull yourself out of that limited point of view. So even now, whatever's going on politically, nature is still kicking butt. So you got to live there, and then you can affect the world of appearances with your high frequency and high vibration. Are you getting this? I just want you to know how powerful you are. Don't go into sides. Go into the upper room. Have your opinion, but keep it to the side when you go into practice. Just put it to the side and go into practice. You'll find a place of safety, well-being, wellness, and the generosity and the loving kindness will flow from you because it'll be God itself, becoming conscious of itself as your very life and being. Do not allow the world of appearances to steal your joy. It's intrinsic. It's yours. Be in the joy. Be in the joy. It's not frivolous. It's a birthplace of creativity and the building of the world we all want to live in. You feel it? Yes. Can you see it? Yes. You feel it? Yes. Can you see it? Yes. You feel it? Yes. Can you see it? Yes. It's real, I tell you. It's real. It's real. It's real. It's real. It's real. It's real. And just remember one thing that I said earlier. Standing on the shoulders of giants, our ancestors, all people who have ever been oppressed in any way have a certain resiliency of which we can pull on right now to make it through all of the stuff that's happening on the world now. Get you a black friend. A Jewish friend, a trans friend, a queer friend, a gay friend. They know what it feels like, but they know how to walk tall and say, I'm making it through. You see? Woo! Put that smile on your face. Come with me in prayer right now. Open up your inner eye. And there you'll see no one is left out. Open up your inner eye and you'll see that you're drawing the circle big enough that everyone fits in, even people that don't like you, even people that despise the color of your skin, even people that can't stand your sexual orientation. You draw the circle big enough, everyone fits in. And you begin to be so grateful that you are awake, aware, and alive. You're recognizing the great presence that is everywhere. Oh, God is everywhere. Everywhere. You see the presence of God in the immature ones of us that are warmongers and haters. You see the presence of God in those who are mature enough to love with complete abandon everyone and everyone in between. Recognize the presence. Recognize the presence. Feel right now your oneness with the presence of God. Be bold enough to say out loud right now, my life is the life of God. I am one with the presence of God. I'm an emanation of infinite potential. It is from this awareness of our oneness with God that I have the privilege and the honor of speaking this very word for each and every one of us today, knowing that there's only one of us here revealing itself as the many. One source, one power, one presence. And that our very life is indeed the life of the presence. And the word that I am speaking is the vibrational spiritual idea of wholeness, well-being, vitality, vigor, regeneration, rejuvenation, dynamic peace, unconditional love, dynamic joy. This word is containing all of that. Just as the acorn contains the entire oak tree, this word is the vibrational frequency of our dynamic health and well-being being activated right now. It's containing a dynamic world that works for the highest and best of us all. This word is being shot with divine enthusiasm right into the heart of the field of infinite potential. Reverberating everywhere. Let there be light, let there be love, let there be life, let there be beauty, let there be abundance, let there be joy, let there be bliss, let there be ecstasy, and let there be God everywhere. A great awakening is happening. Sometimes you need an existential crisis. Sometimes you need a great challenge to wake up. The word is spoken. Let there be light for these beings that are hearing the sound of my voice whenever and wherever they are. Let it be now. Let it be now. Anything that would hinder, delay, obstruct, or deny the fullness of life from cascading from the no-thingness to the somethingness of our existence is dissolved into the nothingness from which it has come never to exist again, and we are now free. Oh, feel your freedom. No constraints. Unfettered and totally free. Feel it. You don't need to change in circumstance yet. You need to feel it first. Then circumstances change. You don't need to change conditions first. You feel it, then conditions change. Situations, you don't need to change situations yet. Feel the order and the harmony and the peace, then situations change. Feel it now. Come on, you're strong enough. Come on, you're magnificent. You have more power than you ever thought you had. You are not merely the dust of the earth. No. You are the life of the presence of God. Rise. Rise, daughters and sons of the Most High. Rise in consciousness right now. Lift yourself above the den of confusion, separation. Lift yourself. Promise greatness, infinite possibilities. We're choosing right now. We're choosing right now. We're choosing health, well-being, serenity, peace. We're choosing joy. We're choosing it. Choose it right now. Say, I choose love. I choose abundance. I choose joy. Now here's the thing. I choose it for everyone. I choose it for everyone. I choose it for everyone. Oh, now we can swim in it. Woo! Join me with the feeling tone.
Ooh. There is a shelter within myself where I know that I am not alone. There is a shelter within myself where I know I always have a home. Angels surround me like the moonlight, and I rest in the warmth of their love.
Yes.
And even when the darkness steals my flight, in my shelter I'm free as a dove. There is a shelter within myself where I know that I am not alone, where I know that I am not alone.
Keep that eye closed. Open up the inner eye. And just feel that you're not alone. You are surrounded, infused, submerged in and as the presence that is never an absence.